Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So our topic for today is about an introduction of enterprise architecture. Okay, so enterprise architecture has emerged as a discipline, of course, that can help steer the ship of the enterprise through both quiet and turbulent waters, no? Charting a course from each current location of a future location in a safe and streamlined way. So the discipline has become more prevalent in recent years, but the precepts go back almost to the beginning of what is often termed the information age, no? So an enterprise is one of the most complex man-made systems and is comprised of human, political, social, software, hardware, and technological components. No, in an enterprise of any appreciable size, it is impossible for a single person to understand the way the parts of all together, let alone understand its position in relation to the system of other organizations that form its environment to or determine how it can evolve. So enterprise architecture can be used to create visualization of the enterprise at different levels of abstraction and to create roadmaps, no, that show how the enterprise can be transitioned from its baseline or the current state to a target or the future state. The enterprise architecture is a powerful platform that can be used to define the strategic context for an enterprise architecture and the enterprise architecture itself, and the implementation initiative that realize the design and that finally deliver the business value. So it can serve as both the architectural repository and a tool for managing the process by which architectures are created and maintained, including an architectural requirements management platform. So powerful visualization capability allows model to be transformed and presented in a variety of compelling ways that will delight stakeholders from the executive level down to implementation teams. Okay, so actually, there are some tools that can be used to define strategic, tactical, and solution architectures and to provide compelling views for a wide range of stakeholders from a senior executive down to the implementation partner. So business, information, application, and technology architectures can be created and managed, and baseline and target architectures define, allowing transition to visualize. Okay, so the discipline of enterprise architecture dates back, no, to the mid-80s when John Zachman recognized the need to manage the complexity of distributed technology systems. So enterprise architecture has since emerged as one of the most important disciplines in the business and information technology profession and has become increasingly relevant in the era dominated by digital disruption. So when done well, enterprise architecture can be used to guide an organization through the complex business and digital landscape that currently confronts business and technology leaders. So enterprise architects has become the tool of choice for many leaders in the industry because of its flexible, extensible, and pragmatic approach to modeling complex systems. So as a platform, enterprise architect offers a unique capability in supporting the integration of strategic, business, and technology models from motivation models down to the implementation of the system. So the tool allows the architect to create strategic models, including diagrams like the balance scorecard, capability models, tactical models such as gap analysis and roadmaps, and operational models appealing to stakeholders from the senior executive down to line managers and solutions and implementation teams. Okay, so to give us more details about the topic, let us all welcome our presenter.
Everyone. Today, I will be presenting my report in our subject, MIT 107 Enterprise Architectures under the Graduate School Program MIT at Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Muntinlupa. Presented by yours truly, Mr. Andrew Philip Banag, presented to Dr. Marmelo V. Abante. Here are the topics to be discussed. Introduction to Enterprise Infrastructure, Software Architecture, Zachman Architecture, and the Open Group Architecture Framework, or TOGAF. So first, we will discuss about the introduction to enterprise infrastructures. So since the modern technology was available and enterprises integrate technologies and IT infrastructure to their business operations to provide quality services to their clients, as well as to ensure the relationship from the other organizations will be efficient. So in this topic, in this enterprise infrastructure, ini-integrate yung ating ng information technology dun sa mga businesses. Normally, para magkaroon ng sharing ng resources at data across the enterprise. And not only for that, para magkaroon ng relationship, a good relationship sa bawat enterprises na connected yung isang enterprise. So, enterprise infrastructure refer to the concept of IT technology. This is where the resources and data are efficiently shared across an enterprise. So this concept involves the technical parts such as yung tinatawag na technical efforts in infrastructure engineering for building, managing and evolving shared IT infrastructures or infrastructure operations for administering and monitoring the performance of the IT services being provided to the enterprise. IT services management and information services management. So lahat ng ito ay magdedepende talaga doon sa tinatawag na IT department. So may mga tinatawag tayong IT department na in-house na wherein sila yung nagmo-monitor at nagma-manage at nag-i-implement ng mga different IT infrastructures like yung networks, yung kanilang software na ginagamit, and yung hardware na ginagamit nila. So some of the companies and enterprises ay kumukuha sila ng tinatawag na outsource, okay, para mas ma-exercise nila o mas maayos na mga contractors para maging smooth ang implementation ng kanilang dun sa kanilang enterprise. Okay? So next, understanding the enterprise IT infrastructure. So, IT infrastructure nga refers to composite hardware, software, and network resources. So, and services required for the existence, operation, and management of IT enterprise environment. So, it allows an organization to deliver IT solutions and services to its employees, partners, customers, and is usual internal to an organization and deployed within own facilities. So as you can see dun sa ating images, no, dito, so enterprise network, kung mapapansin po natin, nandito yung iba-ibang klaseng mga devices, okay, na let's say network devices na ini-implement para mag-connect yung mga computers ng isang organizations, no. So, dyan sa, nandyan yung mga hardware ng mga PC, ganun, mga wireless access points. So, para magkaroon ng smooth communication sa isang enterprise, no? So, it allows this to deliver best solutions sa kanilang mga employees as well as dun sa kanilang mga customer. Since pag mas maganda yung nabibigay na service ng IT solution sa mga employee, makakapag-provide si employee ng magandang customer service sa kanyang mga kliyente. So, a good IT infrastructure, magiging efficient ang kanilang business operations. Especially kung yung isang business ay nakadepende talaga sa IT o IT infrastructure. Okay? Next, ito po yung mga key components of an enterprise IT infrastructure. So number one is the computer hardware or platforms. So includes the client machines and server machines such as well as modern mainframes produced by IBM or International Business Machine. Blade servers are ultra-thin servers intended for a single dedicated applications and are mounted in space-saving racks. So usually, katulad dun nasa perpetual po ako, Dati po kasi ako application support specialist sa Perpetual Medical Center sa Las Piñas. So, meron kami tinatawag na mga data centers. So, yung we have 5 data centers na naka-install sa buong ospital, no, para makapag kami sharing kami ng data and mga applications para makapag-provide kami ng quality services sa mga employees as well as dun sa mga patients. So yung mga data nila na naka-store sa tinatawag namin mga data centers, wherein sa loob ng data centers may tinatawag dun ng mga blade servers. Yun yung mga maninipis na server na naka-install yung aming mga applications para mas mabilis yung pagdi-distribute ng data throughout the entire hospital. So, ini-implement din tong mga blade servers na to sa mga malalaking enterprises such as BPO companies. Ayan, kasi usually ang BPO company is talagang dapat high-tech na siya. Okay? Not only for the BPO companies, but also mas maganda rin yan sa mga tinatawag na educational institutions such as yung universities and school. Since nagko-collect ng data ang mga nasabi ko mga enterprises or mga institution, so kailangan nila ng mas magandang IT infrastructure when it comes to computer hardware, lalo pa nagsisave sila ng mga data. Number 2 is the operating systems. So OS, yung ngayon tinatawag nating software na tinatawag nating what we call this, ang software na utility software, na nagko-control both hardware and software. So, operating system platforms includes platforms for client computers dominated by Windows operating systems. So, and servers dominated by the various forms of Unix operating system or Linux. So, operating systems are software that manage the resources and activities of the computer. So, acts as an interface to the user. So, yung nagiging bridge between the hardware and the peopleware is the software, which is yung operating system na ginagamit. Usually sa mga companies talaga, ginagamit po talaga nila is Windows operating system. But be sure na yung gagamitin nating mga operating system is original or commercial license, no, pag sa mga enterprises, para hindi tayo magkaroon ng legal issues, no? So, next is number 3 is the enterprise and other applications, software applications, no? Includes SAP, Oracle, and PeopleSoft, and middleware software that are used to link firms' existing application system. So, usually yung sikat ngayon yung SAP, no? Yung ginagamit sa para sa mga e-commerce, mga retail na enterprises, no? Para makapag-produce sila ng, alam ko din sa SAP, makapag-customize ka ng software na mamakikater niya yung mga needs ng employees, no, para makapag-provide ng services sa clients. So, meron pa yung report generated yung SAP, no? Other enterprise applications such as the Microsoft Office, no, nakapag-provide ng mga document files para sa mga important documents na part ng isang business operations. Number 4 is the data management and storage. So, is handled by database management. So, usual ang nag-handle po nito ay yung mga database administrators. So, database management softwares and storage devices include traditional storage methods such as disk, arrays, and tape libraries, and newer network-based storage technologies such as the storage area network. So, a SANs connected multiple storage devices on a dedicated high-speed networks. So, may mga tinatawag tayong mga N-computings, no, na ini-implement yung ng mga companies na yung parang isang system unit tapos 4 monitors na yung or 4 clients or users na yung pwedeng gumamit. So, efficient din yan dahil nakakatipid sila ng resources, no, na hindi nako-compromise yung kanilang financial assets, no? So a better or a good data management and storage can prevent data redundancies and provide correct or accurate data no? Data such as yung mga reports. So next, network and telecommunications. So networking and telecommunications platform includes Windows Server operating systems, Novel, Linux, and Unix. So nearly LAN and many wide area networks use TCP and IP for standard networks. No? So dito, usually ang ginagamit na ngayon is yung tinatawag nating Active Directory. No? So na once na yung client ay mag-enter lang ng username and kanyang username and password or yung tinatawag na login credentials sa isang entire network. Example, no? Nung nasa Perpetual ako, kasi doon ko na-exercise talaga yung aking pagiging IT po way back 2016. Kapag nagsusupport po kami sa, let's say, nasa ibang floors or ibang buildings, so pag may nakalimutan kami mga tools namin or utility software namin, nilalogin lang po namin yung account namin kasi naka-active directory yung buong company. So, ibig sabihin, na-exercise namin yung networking ng company na maayos at efficient yung kanyang pagkakastructure. So in telecommunications, of course, we are using better telephone systems, no? Para hindi kami nagkakaroon ng problema when it comes to communications. Okay? Next is internet platform. So we all know that the internet is the biggest network that connects peoples and organizations all over the world. So overlap with and must relate to the firm's general network infrastructure and hardware and software platforms. Internet-related infrastructures includes the hardware and software services to maintain corporate websites, intranets, and extranets, include web hosting services and web software applications development tools. So a web hosting service maintains a large web servers or series of servers and provides fee-paying subscribers with space to maintain their website. So usually, ginagamit na ng mga companies ngayon or mga enterprises is sa mga tinatawag natin mga web applications, no, and web systems, which is they can access this in every parts of the world using only the application itself and the internet, of course. So meaning, hindi na masyadong ginagamit yung mga LAN-based systems, no? Kasi nga, pag LAN-based kasi, nandun ka on-site, so naka-locate ka since pandemic, so kailangan pa rin mag-function yung ating business, no? Yung enterprises, no? Using a websites or mga web systems, no? Nakakapag-function pa rin yung, nakapag-perform pa rin sila ng usual business operations nila para maging pa rin yung kanilang business, hindi malulugi, no? So kailangan ng mga better na internet connections, such as yung mga binibenta ng mga ISPs like yung Converge. So mga usually dito sa Pilipinas or sa ibang bansa kailangan fiber optic network na yung ginagamit, no? Fiber optics na para mabilis yung internet connections nila. So magkaiba po yung bayad ng commercial sa residentials, no? Siyempre mas malaki po yun sa commercials. Okay? Kasi ang piniprevent po nila dito is yung downtime. Once kasi na nagkaroon ng downtime, may chances na yung mga reports or yung mga transactions ay madidelay, no? Consulting and system integration surveys are relied on integrating a firm's legacy system with a new technology infrastructure, providing enterprise in implementing new infrastructures along with relevant changes in business process, training, and integration. Legacy systems are generally older transactions processing system created for mainframe computers that continue to be used to avoid high cost of replacing or redesigning of them. So, in my experience sa Perpetual, no, sakto rin po yung paglipat ko doon. Yung in-house system na ginawa po nila or yung in-implement nila many years ago, the company decide to buy or mag-outsource ng software na which is more efficient and more parang mas maganda siya, efficient, mas maganda, mas mabilis, no? Na software na tinatawag nilang BizBox, no? Sa BizBox is magkakasama na yung HIS or yung Hospital Information System, MMS or Materials Management System, wherein yun yung nakikater ng mga inventories nila, yung mga monitoring ng kanilang mga materials. And last is the Financial Information System, wherein nandun nakakater lahat ng kanilang mga financial transactions. So sa biniling na yun, the software, in-integrate siya dun sa Perpetual together with their ITs and yung IT rin ng Perpetual. So, nangyari po dun ay nagkaroon ng maraming meetings, the Management Committee and the Operations Committee para maging maayos yung software integration, yung kanilang migrate. Kasi magma-migrate ng mga data yan eh. Ang unang-unang mga magiging changes dyan is yung kanyang infrastructure. Of course, kailangan mag-run yung system na yon sa Active Directory, number 1. Number 2, yung kanilang mga data centers. So, yung capable ba yung mga data centers sa mga may store na data ng mga pasyente or yung mga data ng hospital dun sa bago nilang system. So, capable ba siya or compatible ba sila? Number 3 is the user-friendliness ng system. Kasi kailangan meron training yan ng users. Yung user acceptance training. So, magti-training yung mga users kasi gumagamit sila ng old system, no? Tapos gagamit bigla ng new system. So, nagkakaroon tayo ng parallel testing. So, yung parallel testing na tinatawag ay tinitignan yung old system ay ginagamit pa rin o yung tinatawag na legacy systems ay ginagamit pa rin together with the new system. So, for example, may pasyente or kliyente na magbabayad, no? Pagbayad po nila ng let's say hospital bill, ine-encode yan parehas dun sa dalawang system, sa old or yun sa legacy systems nila at saka yung kanilang new system. So tinitignan kung parallel ba sila pag nag-give or nagbigay ng reports na tinatawag like yung mga hospital billings, yung mga patient information, ito na ba yung mga na-take niyang mga medicines, saan siya naka-room, ano yung kanyang room type, and so on and so forth. So, yung mga data from the legacy systems up to the new system ay tinitignan kung parallel sila. Kaya ang tawag nila doon is parallel testing. So, yung old data, minamigrate na siya papunta dun sa mga newly installed servers nila sa mga data centers. Para pag nagsabay silang gamitin, no, makikita kung parallel ba sila or hindi. So, yung iba po doon ay nire-retain para hindi masyadong magastos, no? At yung replacement noon or yung kanyang redesign. Siyempre, sinasangalang-alang din yung operating system na gagamitin kung compatible ba yung system na yon. So, kung makikita nyo yung BizBox Incorporated, no? Yun yung nagbibigay ng mga IT software sa mga hospital. Okay, next po is, next is the software architecture. So when we talk about the software, so ito yung intangible, hindi nakakahawakan, no? Yung hardware is the tangible. So software ay siya yung nagpapagana ng computer systems, no? Depende dun sa kailangan ng users. Okay? The architecture of a system describes its major components, their relationships, structure, and how they interact with each other. So, software's architecture and design include several contributory factors such as the business, strategy, quality attributes, human dynamics, designs, and IT environment. So, as we can see on the part na to, okay, sa picture, no, yung software architecture ay hindi lang siya basta software lang na ginawa. So, computer programs are designed to its specific functions, no? Depende yan kung ano yung gusto ng human or yung gagamit ng computer program na yon. So, software ay marami siyang kailangan mga contributory factors. Una sa lahat yung business strategy. Of course, kailangan yung software architecture natin ay mag-base dun sa business rules na meron ang isang kumpanya or isang enterprises. So kailangan itong business strategy na to ay masunod, no? Masunod siya para hindi na siya sobrang mag-a-adjust, no, dun sa based sa kanyang operations, yung natural niyang operations. Yung design, of course, kailangan yung design ng software na yon, it's either the software design that is kailangan user-friendly siya. So, user-friendly yung software at yung design niya is parang kailangan compatible siya dun sa business strategy na meron. Next is yung quality attributes. Of course, kailangan yung ipoprovide na software design is quality yung attribute niya. Nandun ba yung mga kailangan dun sa isang business strategy? Okay, let's say, nandun ba yung mga forms na kailangan? Usually kasi, ang ginagawa ng mga softwares na ini-install sa isang company or yun yung mga kine-create sa isang enterprises ay dapat nagbe-based dun sa kanilang mga manual copies and their processes. Example, how to gather their data. Let's say, nag-fill out ng information form. So, yung mga form na yun, ay meron yung software na mga data entries na match dun sa kanilang mga kinokollect na data. And next is the IT environment. Of course, kailangan magmamatch yung software na ginawa natin or yung gagawin natin dun sa kanilang IT infrastructure. Kung capable ba yung kanilang company na makapag-provide ng web services or nasa web ba siya, or ano po, or yung land-based lang ba yung kanilang i-implement para yung transaction is on-site transaction. Well, ngayon kasi, ang kailangan na ngayon, ang usual na ginagamit na po kasi ngayon is multi-platform na, so web applications na. Pag web po kasi yung ginamit, kahit anong platform gagana siya. Okay, as long as wala siyang compatibility issues. Yun nga lang, kailangan yung company makakapag-provide ng high-speed internet servers at yung kanyang cloud, no? Cloud storage. Okay? Next is the human dynamics, of course, yung user na gagamit. So itong mga factors na to ay pag na-meet to, itong mga factors na to ay makakapag-provide dyan ng magandang software. Okay? Architecture, ibig sabihin, dine-design pa lang natin yung software na gagamitin. So, on our next slide, these are the goals of the architecture. So the number one, the primary goal of architecture is to identify the requirements that affect the structure of the application. So a well-laid architecture reduces business risk associated with building a technical solution and builds a bridge between business and technical requirements. So in this goal, kailangan first, katulad dyan sa software development life cycle, no, yung agile and waterfall, laging nauuna yung mga requirements. So, requirement analysis. So, kailangan malaman po natin ang mga requirements na kailangan ng isang beneficiary o yung enterprise or yung company or organization man yan. Kailangan natin malaman kung ano yung mga initial requirements niyan, such as ilan bang users na gagamit, gano'ng karaming possible na data ang may store, ang kinokollect natin per day, yung mga statistics na gano'n. So, mag-run ba yan sa multi-platform na operating systems? At sino ba yung mga gagamit? Technical persons po ba lahat ang gagamit? Or may mga old ones na gagamit? So, yan, before we design this, kaya nga architecture, ibig sabihin, drawing pa lang natin kung ano yung gagawin nating software. So, pag mas maganda, or the well-laid, ibig sabihin maayos or maganda na architecture, mababawasan yung risk. No? Siyempre, in every actions, there's a risk. No? May mga consequences yan. Kapag lalo pag hindi nag-work ang isang software, no? May mga consequences. Kaya may mga risk management. So, kung mas maganda yung pagpaplano natin, katulad sa waterfall model, nung nakaset na lahat yon, simula pa lang, nakaplano na lahat, bago makuha yung finished product. So, kailangan, meron tayong tinatawag na mga risk management, no, para ma-reduce kung magkaroon man ng problema between the technical and the business, no, yung business rules and the technical requirements ay hindi masyadong nag-match, no, mayroon tayong risk management. So, pag maganda yung pagpa-plan natin, so magkakaroon ng magandang output yung ating ginagawang software. Some of the other goals are as follows: expose the arc structure of the system but hide its implementation details. So, pwede natin ipakita kung yung structure ng isang system, pero nakatago, hindi natin ipapakita kung ano yung detailed nun. Kung ano yung, halimbawa, ano bang meron sa user form na to? Ano yung meron sa module na to? So, meron lang initial ideas about the system. Okay? But yung detailed nun ay hindi pwedeng i-expose. Why? Kasi that is confidential. Number 2, realize all use cases and scenarios. So, kaya nga may tinatawag tayo sa UML na use case diagram, wherein malalaman natin yung mga packages, sa package diagram yun, mga modules na ginagamit ng users. Okay, kaya yung actor doon, yung tao doon, o yung tinatawag na actor, let's say, administrator, ano yung kanyang mga modules na hina-handle doon sa use case? Ano yung magiging scenario? Includes ba siya or exclude? So doon natin malalaman sa magandang pag-structure ng UML o Unified Modeling Language. Try to address requirements of various stakeholders. Of course, kailangan alam ng mga stakeholders o yung mga gagamit ng system, yung mga na manggagaling sa kanila, yung mga requirements, kasi sila yung gagamit. Kung hindi man galing sa kanila, at least try to address to them kung ano yung paano siya gamitin, ano ba yung mga bagong requirements. Kasi once na yung old system ay lalagyan mo ng panibagong system, of course, yung user interface pa lang, malilito na yung gagamit ng system. Kaya nga may mga user trainings. Okay, handle both functional and quality requirements. Of course, dapat ang mapoprovide the system is quality. Bago i-turn over yung software, dapat quality na siya. So, para konti lang yung tinatawag nating, para maintenance na lang, no? Konti-konti na lang, no? Next is reduce the goal of ownership and improve organization's market position. So, pag maganda yung pagkakagawa natin ng software architecture, hindi na tayo masyadong mag-demand ng mga softwares or mga third-party softwares na gagamitin para dun sa ating business organization. So, marireduce natin yung cost, of course. Marireduce natin yung manpowers ng mga IT na gagawa pa nun. So, improve quality and functionality offered by the system. Kailangan itong goals ng software of architecture ay papasok sa tinatawag nating ISO o International Standardizations for Organization. So, yun yung ginagamit. So, di ba sa ISO meron tayong ISO 25010, 2011 or 2015 software criteria, dapat pasok siya doon. Okay, para masabi natin na yung software evaluation nun is nami-meet yung requirements ng company or ng enterprise. Last is to improve external confidence in either organizations or system. So, of course, if the goals of the architecture may mamimit natin, so magkakaroon ng confidence, no, ang ating organizations na ginagamit yung system na yun. So, once na nangyari na yung implementation at syempre merong mga months yan na tinitingnan or minomonitor pa kung talagang namimit niya talaga, saka siya magkakaroon, may improve natin yan as the time goes by. So, magkakaroon siya ng confidence. Okay? So, yan po yung goals of architecture. So, next topic is, what is Zachman Framework? So, this is the first time no, na na-meet ko tong Zachman Framework na ini-implement sa tinatawag nating enterprises. So this is originally developed by, of course, John Zachman at IBM in 1987. So, to make the story short, ginagamit itong Zachman Framework. So, framework, ibig sabihin, ito yung kanilang magiging pattern, no, in developing enterprises or implementing IT infrastructures for the enterprises. So, ina-update din naman to si Zachman Framework. Ang aim nito is organize and analyze data, solving problems, planning for future, managing enterprise architecture, and creating analytical models. So dito pa lang, parang itong si Zachman Framework na to, that is the basis, first base of planning. So, planning, requirement analysis. So, dito pa lang ay nakikita na dapat nila nagiging proactive yung mga business enterprises, no? Na magpa-pattern sila dito sa Zachman Framework. So, creating analytical models, enterprise architectures. So, dito pa lang makikita na natin na parang nagiging proactive yung isang company. Ito yung magiging risk kapag tinake natin to. Ito yung magiging outputs. No? Parang ito yung magiging outcome nung magiging pag in-implement itong business software na to or yung kanilang mga IT infrastructure. So the Zachman Framework remains relevant for modern business today. Largely because technology environments have grown increasingly complex with legacy technology and information scattered throughout the organization, often lost to employees who have moved on their other systems and solutions. So, since kapag nangyari na is naging automated na, naliless na yung manpower. Yan yung mga isa sa medyo kailangan anuhin natin dahil kapag system na yung automated systems na yung mga naka-implement, naliless na yung manpower. So, nare-reduce ng company or ng organization yung kanilang cost or expenses kasi ang pagpapasweldo sa manpower is considered as company's expenses. So mababawasan yung kanilang expenses, tataas yung kanilang profit. So this Zachman Framework relevant to sa mga modern businesses. So usual ini-implement itong Zachman Framework na to. So ano ba talaga tong Zachman Framework na to? Okay? So why Zachman Framework? So in today's business environment, many large organizations have great difficulty responding to changes. Part of this difficulty is due to lack of internal understanding of the complex structures and components in different areas of the organization. Where legacy information about the business is locked away in the minds of specific employees or other business units without being made it explicit. So, sa sobrang complex na ng mga businesses ngayon, so yung mga lalo na yung mga large organizations na nagre-restructure ng kanilang mga processes. So ang nangyayari ay nagkakaroon ng parang challenge, no, sa mga employees saka sa business, no, yung kanilang internal process. Kasi external process is nagbibigay sila ng services dun sa So, meron niyang internal process na hindi nakikita ng usually mga clients nila. So, now, when nangyari yung restructuring, so, nalilito yung ibang mga business organizations, no? Such as yung lalo yung employees kasi sila yung first line, no? Sila yung front line ng kanilang mga services. So, anong nangyayari ay since nagkakaroon ng mga misunderstandings and communications, so makaka-affecto sa kanilang business operations. So now, in the use of Zachman Framework, it provides a means of classifying an organization architectures. So it is a proactive-based tool which can be used to model an organization's existing functions, elements, processes, and help manage business change. The framework draws Zachman experience on how change is managed in complex products such as airplanes and buildings. So, yun yung magiging guide, no, yung Zachman Framework, no? Lalo na sa pagkakaroon ng restructuring. So, naging proactive siya. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa nangyayari, naiisip na niya agad yung mga possible na solution. So, pwede nating i-apply itong model na to sa mga existing organizational functions and processes para makaka-adapt siya agad, no? Using the Zachman Framework. So, ano ba talaga yung meron kay Zachman Framework? So, there is a structure of Zachman Framework. So, two-dimensional classification scheme of descriptive representation of an enterprise is structured as matrix containing 36 cells. each focus on one dimension perspective of the enterprise. Roles are often, so yung mga roles are often to present as different viewpoints involve the system's development process, while columns represents the different perspectives of stakeholder involved in the organization. So, in this transition, dito sa ating Zachman Framework, no, makikita natin yung how the business will interact changes between the user and its and yung mga organization, yung mga stakeholders nila dun sa ating implementation ng bagong sistema. So, in this Zachman Framework. So, the roles of Zachman Framework, dinidescribe niya yung 6 viewpoints. So, ito ay tinatawag na 5 Ws and 1 H. So, yung columns ay frameworks consist of set of artifacts which are description of the enterprise from specific viewpoint of a group of stakeholders. So the stakeholders are generally grouped as planners, owners, or designers, implementers, subcontractors, users, and sometimes represented as viewpoint, scope, context, business concept, physics concepts, physics component assembles, and operation classes. So in the framework, enables complex subject to be distilled into systematic categories in the column headers. Using these 6 basic questions, the answers to this question will differ depending on the perspective or audience represented by rows. So for example, makikita natin dito yung what. Scope context, inventory identification, inventory types. So, in the business concept, so strategies to, yung mga theorists, sila yung nag-iisip muna. So, pag sa business concept, ito yung mga leaders o yung may-ari. Ano yung magiging sa kanila? Okay, yung magiging how this inventory o yung what na question maintindihan nung business concept, yung executive leaders. So, magkakaroon ng inventory definition and business entity business relationship. So, magkakaroon ng ERD, Kakiri siya ERD diagram. So, kapag dumating na sa system logic, nagkakaroon na tayong tinatawag na inventory representation na at yung system relationship. So, yung pagde-design ng system, so ang gagawa nun is yung architect. Yung technology physics naman, ini-integrate na yung inventory specs, para ma-develop na siya. So, component assemblies, yung technicians as part of the implementers. So, yung system logic at yung technology physics, so the designers and the builders ay mag-i-implement na using the technicians, so yung component assemblies. And the operation classes, sila na yung workers, so sila na yung gagamit ng software na ginawa. So, inventory sets. Sa how, paano, process identification, process types. So, the process definition, business, process identification and process types. Ano yung mga proseso ng kanilang inventory? So, next is, syempre, i-define yan dun sa mga may-ari or executive as the owners, executive leaders as owners. So, ano yung makikita nila dun sa business output nila? Ano yung mga inputs? Ano yung possible na magiging output ng system? Tapos, syempre, i-design na siya. Okay? Then, pag-design, i-build. After nun, i-implement. Then, makikita na yan ng tinatawag na workers. So on and so forth hanggang dun sa dulo. So from the unang row, unang column at unang column sa 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 na rows, kailangan masagot niya lahat to na nakakonect dito sa mga strategies, owners, designers, builders, technicians, implementers, and workers. So, yun yung structure ng nung Zachman Framework. So in columns naman, what data, what is the business data, information, or objects. So yung how, yung functions, yung network kung saan i-implement, yung business operations. Where are the business operations? So ano ba siya? Locally ba siya or globally? Sino yung mga people na gagamit or yung magra-run ng business? Ano daw yung mga business nila? So this is the organizational structure. Next, yung yung time, kung kailan siya matatapos. So dito na pumapasok yung tinatawag na Gantt chart, okay, yung time frame or timeline para mag-process yung working schedule at yung kanyang mga workflows. So why? Ano yung nagmo-motivate sa kanila? So dun sa isang solution, why is the solution the one chosen? So ito yung mga question. How was that derived from? What motivates the performance of certain activities? So etong mga questions na to, dito sa structure ni Zachman, parang pinapaintindi na niya sa atin na ito yung possible na mangyayari dun sa business na yun or sa organization kapag in-implement itong Zachman Framework. No? Ang rules naman for Zachman is the framework offers set of descriptive representation or models relevant for describing an enterprise. Each cell in the Zachman framework must be aligned with the cells immediately above and below it. So, kailangan yung pag-describe nito or pag-create ng Zachman framework, pag-implement nito sa sa ating business organization, kailangan related sila. Hindi pwedeng yung isa sa kanan, yung isa sa kaliwa. Dapat kung kanan siya. Kung kaliwa, kaliwa. Okay? Kailangan aligned talaga siya. All cells in each row must be aligned with each other. So, each cell is unique, of course. In every representation dito, kailangan unique yung unique yung kanilang maipoproduce. So, combining the cells in one row for completing the description of the enterprise from that view. So, pag minerge na yan, iisa lang yung magiging view nila. Okay? So, next is the TOGAF or the Open Group Architecture Framework. So, an enterprise architecture methodology that offers high-level framework for enterprises software development. So, itong TOGAF is implemented for software development naman. Kanina, structuring yung Zachman. So, yung structure ng business mismo. Ito naman ay high-level framework enterprise for software development. Ibig sabihin, ito yung software na i-implement natin. So, ini-help ng TOGAF yung pagde-develop ng process through a systematic approach. So, from the manual or traditional system, pag magta-transform ka into a systematic or computerized processes, so TOGAF will help you. So, aim to reduce errors, of course, mababawasan na yung human error, maintaining timelines, staying on the budget, and aligning it with IT with business units to produce quality results. So yung TOGAF approach, kung si Zachman, yung enterprise na yung buong structure ng isang business na i-implement. Ito naman, yung software na i-implement dun sa isang business na dapat naka-align siya within the information technology infrastructure. Okay? So, overview of TOGAF. So, the open group siya, no? Like other IT management frameworks, TOGAF helps businesses align IT goals with overall business goals while helping organize cross-departmental IT efforts. So, in every department on every enterprise, no, meron dapat connected si IT. Why? Kasi as long as they have computers, softwares na ginagamit, networks like internet, so aligned dapat talaga yung IT. So with the help of TOGAF, no, mas madali nating mag-help niya yung IT department ma-organize yung kanyang mga operations, no. TOGAF help businesses define and organize requirements before a project starts, keeping the process move quickly with few errors. So ito yung parang meron kang minimal risk na i-take, no, once na yung ma-implement mo yung TOGAF. So TOGAF states, the open group states that TOGAF is intended to ensure everyone speaks at the same language, avoid lock-in to proprietary solutions by standardizing on open methods for enterprise architecture, saving time and money and utilize resources more effectively, achieve, demonstrate the ROI or the return of investments. So, itong TOGAF na to ay makaka-help din siya sa isang enterprise, no, na ma-improve siya without sacrificing these financial resources. So this is the TOGAF, no? Ano pa yung mga magiging benefits niya? So the TOGAF business benefits, so ini-help na nga yung organization to implement software technology in a structured and organized way with focusing on governance, meeting business objectives. So software development relies on collaboration between multiple departments and business both inside and outside of IT. And TOGAF help address any issues around getting key stakeholders on the same page. So yun yung mga benefits. So internally and externally, collaboration ng kanilang businesses ay makaka-help yung TOGAF, no? So ito yung evolution of TOGAF. So TOGAF is based of TAFIM or Technical Architecture Framework for Information Management, an IT management framework developed by US Defense Department in the 1990s. So ito lang po yung mga mga dates ng TOGAF, no? So the TOGAF pillars, we have 4: business architecture, application architecture, data architecture, and technical architecture. So the business architecture includes the business strategy, governance, organizations on and how to adapt any existing processes within the organization. So this is in the operational, no, business. So paano yung tumatakbo yung isang business. While yung application architecture naman, yung blueprint in structuring deploying application systems. So according to the business goals. So ano yung mga kailangan ng mga subject matter, no, or kay mga stakeholders ng iyong software, mga process owners. So dun sa application architecture. Sa data architecture, ano yung mga data na kailangan i-store dun sa isang organization. So paano mo siya i-manage, ano mo siya i-maintain yung logical and physical data models. So technical architecture, also called as technology architecture, it describes all the necessary hardware and software and IT infrastructure in developing and deploying business applications. So, itong 4 pillars na to ay ini-implement yan sa TOGAF, no? Pag gumamit ka ng TOGAF framework or the Open Group Architecture Framework. So, ito ay makaka-improve ng ating business, no? Kasi why? Kasi mag-a-adapt I-adapt mo yung business operations mo dun sa new approach frameworks. No, para mas ma-improve siya, makapag-provide ka ng customer satisfaction, yung mga customer needs na yan, yung mga employees ay magiging productive pa. So, ang mangyayari, magkakaroon yung company or yung organization ng malaking profit. And makakapag-provide pa sila ng magandang reputation sa kanilang mga competitors. So, that's it. Thank you for listening. Keep safe and God bless.
Okay, so as what our presenter noon mentioned that anyone involved in the development or management of architectures, whether a strategic level, a business value level, or a technology level, will benefit from the discussion. So this include a wide range of role, including strategic thinkers, senior management, business, information, application, and technology architects, and solution architects and implementation teams whose work and decision will ultimately be guided by the architecture. Okay, so again, our presenter discussed about the enterprise overview. No, we're in covered the describing of what it is the level, types, and style of the architecture. Okay, so I think that's it for the introduction of architecture enterprises. Okay.